Hi, everybody. This is Friday Forever, me, and today is the Forever Friday show. Today, I have the camera up close because I'm talking about domestic violence today. Domestic violence is very serious, okay? If you notice my head right here, you see a bruise, and my eye right here, a bruise. Domestic violence. Okay, I want to put out a disclaimer for this show. The disclaimer is, and a disclaimer means something that's not real. The show is real, but this is only makeup. This and this. It's only makeup. My daughter did it for me for this show. It's not in my life directly or indirectly. It doesn't apply to me. But it has applied all of my life. It's it's been in my life. Domestic violence happens not only to the person there's the abuser and the abusee. I've always been the abusee. There's always been the abuser. The abuser not only abuses the mom, but it affects the children in so many ways you don't even know. You don't even know. I want to tell you, please get out while you can, because you'll never get out. You will never get out. You will never leave. See, the first abuse in my life, the first started very young by people that are supposed to be my parents, my folks. Back in my day, back in my day, we call it reprimanding, or we don't call it abuse. They didn't notice it, or they didn't call it abuse back in my day. But us kids, we got abused. We got the belt so hard to our bottoms. Me and my brothers had to stand against the wall, arms up on the wall, pants down, underwear, pants, everything down to our ankles. Now, if that ain't abuse, I don't even know what you call abuse. One at a time, beating with the belt, and the next one, beating with the belt. And I was the baby, so all of that built up. And, each one of us, I'm sure, counted how many times that the first one got the spanking, and then the second one, and then, he could change it up. He can give one more than the other. It hurts. Then there's the paddles in the schools. That's a form of abuse. Those aren't the abuses that I want to talk about today. I want to talk about relationship. Okay, relationships have also changed to boy, boy, girl, girl. I'm not talking specifically about that right now. I'm talking about what I know, and that's in my 20s. We dated for years, at least 2 years. He had power over me. Then I became pregnant. It's like nobody wanted me. My mom I lived with, she moved out on me when I was 18. Uh, I didn't have a place to go, so I went to the boyfriend. We lived in the garage. I had to do what he wanted because I had no choice. It was me in someone else's house, so I had to do what they wanted me to do, you know? I had to take whatever I had to take to have a place to live. To he was my boyfriend. I loved him, and I thought he loved me too, just the same. We were kids. We did fun things. We did spectacular things. We rode motorcycles. I was mostly a, a girl that rode motorcycles and did boy things. Um, we had hell of a fun time when we were young. But when we started getting older, he started getting more possessive. He, I couldn't. I was so afraid of him. I would do anything. We lived together. It all started when we lived together. I mean, not in his parents' home, his mom's home, but when we lived together in our own apartment. Uh, the abuse just kept getting worse. I mean, I would never say anything against him at that time. He and I got pregnant, so at his mom's house. So we ended up doing like a shotgun wedding in Vegas, and as soon as he got the certificate in his hand, he said, "I own you now." You know how scary that was? I own you now. And I was pregnant. I was like 9 months pregnant. I was so scared. So scared. Even more. Can you imagine just getting married and he says, "I own you now." I mean, I felt like a slave. I didn't even know what to feel. I had no idea what that meant. Uh, to say the least, okay? I went through a lot of abuse. We had the baby, we got an apartment on our own. I'm holding the baby in my robe. He pushes me with the baby and all wrapped in my robe back in the closet. And just things were getting more and more escalated all the time. I mean, like, I wanted to get up in the middle of the night, and we had cast iron pans. I just visualized myself taking that and beating him to death for my own life. I did. Or a bat. But I knew I wasn't strong enough to overcome that. I knew that he would outweigh me, have more strength than me, and I would be looking worse. I mean, I would have more bruises and more broken parts, you might say. Okay. So each one of those, I've been in counseling my whole life. Counseling, I already know what they're going to say. They go back in your past and they say the same type of things. They read books, the counselors. Who, every counselor is not all the same. You might think that, but when you mesh really well with a counselor, you'll know it. Yeah, all counselors go to school, they read, they know all of this stuff. And if you go to school yourself and if you go to the library, and then you'll know what I'm talking about, and you're smart and everything. Counselors are all different and they're smart in everything. What is today? Today is Thursday. Oh, this is my daughter. Daughter, I'm in a show. Counselors, I just had to, I'm so sorry. Counselors, through time, give you a different perspective than the last one. They're not all the same. You might think that, but they're not. They all have their own perspectives and side things that they tell you. And by the way, if you don't like a counselor, you can fire them just as fast as you hired them, pretty much. You getting put with a counselor doesn't mean you have to stay with them. You can fire them if you want. You don't have to stay with them. You could keep searching for the ones that mesh, that work with you. That, you know, when you go into a room, you know which person you're going to get along with, which person you're really not. You know, you stand away from that one. It's kind of like that, in a way. Counseling is really good. But anyways, these relationships, you get stuck. Me as a female, from a sibling, from a child, men like my father, you marry men like your father? Okay. So, maybe. I did, kind of in a sense. Abuse. I just figured abuse was love. And the more I got abuse, the more I was loved. Until I grew up. Until I grew up into my own womanhood. And I am sick and damn tired of being somebody's punching bag, or even verbal abuse. Whatever comes out your mouth, you will not forget that. That is so hard to get over. You should always know what comes out of your mouth, because you can't take it back, no matter how old you are, or how young, how old. That's really abuse too. But to be someone's punching bag, I suggest you do not do that anymore in your life. There's domestic violence hotlines. In my 20s, I got away. I called this number. That's the most scariest thing I've ever done in my entire life. I felt he was there listening and watching and having cameras or things to hear or watch what I did in the day. He would monitor the numbers on my motorcycle. So if I left, he would know if I left. He would know everything. He had so much control over me. I wasn't privy to it until I started figuring that stuff out. And then the next relationship, the last relationship I'll hop to, because I don't want to go over my time here. The last relationship, this was something totally different. But a different, he wasn't Caucasian, he was African. Different. Two things that are humiliating, and the way they humiliate their women, wives, or at least the one I had, and the baby's daddy did the same thing, just one of the same things. They spit in my face. I have never got spit in my face. I mean, like spit in my face on more than one occasion. That's the most humiliating thing than having a whole line of people turn their backs on you. That's humiliating too. And that happened at a Social Security office one time. I said I was right here in line and I just stepped away for a minute. Everyone turned their back on me. The whole line when they opened the doors. That was the weirdest thing ever in life too. But that's not violence. And I'm just saying that spitting was their ammo, both of them from Africa. Spitting in my face, spitting in my car, on the windows. Spitting. I can't even tell you. Also, my last relationship was not only spitting, but he choked me out. He would stand there and choke me out. Until a really, really good friend of mine, who is also from where he was from, she said, "Don't put up with that. Are you kidding me? He does that to you? He does that to you? Do not put up with that. You know what you do for that? You take and choke him back." And I'm like, oh God, no. I would never do that to my husband. I don't know if I told you that before in a different segment that I talked about. I would never do that to my husband. I mean, I felt like you just get back in the old tapes. You feel like you did something to deserve this. I didn't do anything. I didn't do anything to deserve anything like that. You got to get out of those old tapes, my friends. Women, men even get abused by women. That's more common than not. For real. Guys don't want to talk about that. We need a thing in life for the guys that they get abused by women. It's more common than you think. It really is, but I don't know. All I'm saying is men are stronger than females. You guys have this extra power in you. You really do. I don't care what anybody says. I think I'm a badass. I'm a girl. I'm a tom girl. I could take care of myself. Blah, blah, blah. But I put guys to the test. It's total BS. I'm not kidding you. You guys have an extra power within inside of you that us girls don't have. We don't have that. We really don't have that. My friend, she told me choke him back, and he was choking me one day. He was choking me out in the hallway for no apparent reason. He was choking me out, and his face was red, and he was just like in my eyes, and I'm like, I had his shirt, and I twist it and I push it up in his throat like that, but he was choking me out. And I thought, my friend, her voice came in my head, "Don't put up with that, girl. Choke him back." That's all that was in my mind, and I'm like, oh my God, I can't do that. I'm like, this is BS. I am not putting up with this no more. And I choked him back. I put my arms around his throat, and I was shaking and choking him back. And so we were choking both. He was choking me and I was choking him. We were choking both of us was choking each other out. You know how stupid that is? And the harder he got, the harder I got. I was not putting up with this no more. I'm not putting up with this. I choked him back so much. This one particular time. He let loose. He let loose of my throat. He never, after that, never. He just had this look on his eyes. Like, wow, I can't believe she did that. He never, as long as we were together again, he never choked me again. Never choked me again. I mean, that solved the whole problem right there. Mama Musu, my friend, she knows these African men. That's her country. She knows. She was right. She was right. And I'm thinking that's right for any scenario. I mean, I'm just not going to use it for one culture. I'm going to use it for anyone that ever does that to me again, which I'm thinking hopefully not, because I am not putting up with this. I am not going to be abused. I'm not going to be abused. And I am not going to be the abuser or the abusee. And all you women, I suggest you don't feel lonely. Okay, maybe you're lonely, and maybe he's all that you got in your life. And you shared beautiful moments, and he's the only one that understands me. BS. No, that is so wrong in every form of your thinking. No. You need to stop yelling. He needs to stop yelling. You need to stop threatening. He needs to stop threatening. Have a good, healthy relationship. That's what it's all about. Good, healthy relationships. Why do you want to be in abusive, bad relationships? Healthy is good. And once you get to that part in your life, you're going to feel so, you're going to be like, I'm missing out on this part of my life, my whole life. What is going on? I've missed all of this. Holy cow. Oh my God. I could have been living life like this my whole time, the whole time. And I thought he was the only guy that would have me because of my freckles on my face, or my face is too red, or I talk too much, or I talk too little, or I'm fluffy, or I'm too skinny, or whatever, or this or that, or I have ailments. Oh, there's other people that find those things attractive. There's other people out there that find you attractive. You, me, that find us attractive. We don't have to go and stay with these people, abusers. You men, there's other women that are more than that. Women, there's other men that are more than that. Good more, not bad more. And marriages, wow. The Bible says you're not supposed to be unequally yoked. It doesn't say that you stay in an abusive marriage. Okay, and divorce. It says never get divorced. I got that. But God is not going to go be saying, okay, you got divorced, so bad on you. And when I come and you stand at the right hand of me, God, I'm going to chastise you for divorce. No. He's going to want his children. He wants us children to be safe. Do you understand? He wants us to be safe. And if we're not safe and we messed up and got into a bad relationship, bad marriage, bad, and you're getting abused, you're getting bruises. Keep thinking the wrong bruises. These aren't bruises, by the way. Cuts. Children get bruises on their bodies from their parents beating them. To teach them a lesson. That's a criminal act. That's a BS. Bullshit. I don't know if I'm supposed to say that, but anyways. There's domestic violences meetings. Okay, I was in 2 battered woman shelters. It's not something I want to gloat about, but the experiences you go through in life are there for a reason. So you can come on TV, you can share what happened in your life, what you did or didn't do to change it. And maybe you can help others. Maybe you can help others. I have so much traumatic things that I could share with you. But I don't know. Today was domestic violence. And I'm telling you, and with kids that don't listen, I mean, the way I was brought up is the way I was bringing my kid up. I was. Until she had people in her life, therapists and people that would come to the house to help her, and called Child Protective Services on me. And I'm like, ugh. I told him what I did. I threw a timer across the room in her direction. I didn't throw it at her, like huck it at her. I didn't do that. I was pretending to throw it at her. I was throwing it in that direction, but she moved and it hit her in the arm, and it left a little bruise. So she told her worker that. So they called Protective Services on me. So when they got there, and I was wondering where the worker was, it wasn't the worker. This is in another state. They're like, we're from her. I'm like, okay, but why? They're like, we want to know. And I'm like, Tiffany, come here. Showed her arm. She didn't have a bruise anymore. She didn't. I said, yeah. I threw a timer. It hit her in the arm, and she had a bruise. They took her in the other room to see if the story was different. The story was exactly the same. But they couldn't make no finding on it because they didn't see no bruise, because there wasn't a bruise. I didn't abuse her. I mean, they try and get you nowadays for any little thing. And when I was at the battered woman shelter, my kid is the drama queen. Total 100% drama queen. We had bathrooms that were all open, and there was a curtain to shower, and we all had to use the same in the bathroom stalls. But there was one bathroom that had a toilet and had a door to close, and it had a bathtub. It didn't have a shower, so we bought a shower curtain and hung it there to have privacy. Well, I was giving her a bath, and she totally was like, stop, you're drowning me. And the people outside were hearing that, and they reported it. Same thing happened there. They came, they like, you were drowning your daughter, because not only this person, but a lot of people heard it. And I'm like, that is so much BS. No, that is so untrue. She always got me in trouble. I mean, she was a strong-willed child, my daughter, and she still is. But I had to change my ways to outsmart her, you might say. You got to read books. If you got a strong-willed child, you need to read as many books as possible, because those little kids are going to get you in trouble. And they're going to take them away from you. The kids, they're going to take your kids away from you. I don't even do nothing to my daughter. I would die for my daughter. I mean, I came here to San Francisco for my daughter. I love her more than life itself, and I love my son more than life itself, and I love my other daughter that I gave, well, that's with their other mommy. I love her more than life itself. I would do anything for my kids. And you should too. You should be the best parent that you didn't have. You want to be far away from what you weren't treated as. But my time's up, and I want to say to you, as my final ending here, do not put up with verbal abuse anymore, please. There's so much better out there for you and me. No domestic, no verbal. Have a clean heart. Clean your life up. You only get to live one life. Make it the best. Make it the best life you can live. And you think drugs and stuff's the best life. That ain't. I'm sorry, honey, but that's not. That is not the best life. Clean your heart out of your past, present, and make a good future. For real. I love you, and I want the best for your life. And I want the best for my life. You got me? You got me? You take care. Have a great week. Do something positive out in this crazy world. Do something positive, okay? I appreciate your time. Look me up. Domestic violence. This show. Bye-bye.